It's Regina Weston, and I'm here with another episode of what? Bringing the Heat. Today I'm going to talk about how I got on dialysis. It was in 1995. I had started to get sick, and I thought it was the flu. So for 2 weeks, I just laid in the bed, just bringing up everything I tried to digest, not really knowing any better, taking care of myself to the best of my ability, until one of my friends stated, Regina, you've been in that bed too long. Maybe you should go to the hospital. So I did just that. I went to the hospital. They saw me. They gave me a room. They took some blood work. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They stated that I had 5% use of my kidneys. Now, that was when I was 23 years old. So at that time, to be honest with you, I didn't know anything about any kidneys at all. Had never even heard of kidneys. Didn't know anything more than the normal parts of the body that I saw. So I'm like devastated because it was like I have to go on dialysis. Dialysis? What is dialysis? And I have on this shirt because I'm going to give you some visuals. Okay, so when they said that I had 5% of kidney function, I had to go on dialysis. Now, you see these, and then I have some marks in my neck, if you can see. These are where a shunt went in. And the shunt went in a vein so that I could be able to take dialysis on a machine. Not long after that, I went into surgery so that I could get fitted for a graft. Not a graft, a fistula. So a fistula is when they put, you see these? They attach a vein and an artery together, and then they'll put a needle inside when you go on hemodialysis. But because my veins were so small, I wasn't able to get a fistula. I had to get a graft. So I'm going to show you what a graft is. A graft is when they put like a straw-like tube in your arm, and this is where you take dialysis. See, you see all my beauty marks? These are failed attempts of grafts and fistulas and so forth. So this body has been through the ringer. I still have this graft in here. They are my beauty marks. I am not ashamed because God has brought me so far. Okay, so this is where I would take my dialysis. Okay, life on dialysis is 3 days a week. So you either could go Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or you can go Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And depending on your body and the doctor's medical orders, you can either be like 3.5 hours on a machine or 4 hours on a machine. Life on dialysis was very hard. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. And that goes with this graph. I'm going to tell you about my experience with this graph. So one day I went to dialysis. Now, I'm going to use this word. It's saku, the oneness of being, meaning being in tune with your body. I am very in tune with my body. I know when something is not right. Okay, so I went into dialysis day, and I had got a little bump on my arm. I was not going to allow no tech or no nurse to stick me with no needle. Why? Because I got common sense. All right. So when I got there, the tech was like, oh, I could stick you. I said, no, you're not. I said, I only came in today because I want, if you get a referral on hand, at the clinic, you automatically go to the hospital instead of going to the hospital and have to go to the waiting room, have to go through all that stuff. You can bypass that at the clinic when the nurse just tell the doctor what's going on. They already have a bed for you and ready for that. So no, they didn't want to do this. So I went home. So I wound up going to the hospital. Now, see, let me tell you, I saved my own life, okay? Because I had sat there and watched so many people cold on that machine, because sometimes the nurses and the techs were so busy doing God knows what that they weren't even watching the people on the machine. A lot of times people would faint on the machine. So I made a habit of not falling asleep on the machine. That's anybody that's on dialysis. Do not fall asleep on the machine. I know 4 hours or 3.5 hours is a long time. Bring a book. Just be the I spy. Just be nosy and see what's going on so that you can look out for yourself and other patients on the machine, because not everybody do their jobs. Now, you do have some nurses and techs that, really do care for the patients, and, they got your best interests at heart. And then you just have some they just come to work because they just come to work. It's just a job. Okay. So I wound up going back home, and I went to the hospital. I had to get somebody to watch my boys. So I went to the hospital and I told them what's going on. Let me tell you, they gave me a room. And I tell you nothing but the truth. As soon as the doctor came in and touched this graph, it burst. It burst. Now, had that happened in the clinic, I would not be here to talk to you about my experience, because I would have been like, I'll be dead. I'll be dead. So, ladies and gentlemen, have your own common sense. If something is off and something is not right, you pay attention to your body, and you don't let nobody speak to you differently about what's going on with your body. Okay, the doctor caught it. Now, mind you, it's a vein and an artery connected. Do you know how fast I could have bled out? But thank God for this doctor. Shout out to her. I don't even know her name. It was a woman doctor. That woman stitched that thing up for me and had me in surgery. And so they wound up taking this graft out, and it saved my life. And so then I wound up getting this graft. Your health is nothing to play with. It was a struggle. I was on dialysis for many, many years, and it's a tough life. Anybody that have to live on a machine, anybody that has to go through any type of cancer treatment, radiation, and all that stuff, you know that it takes your body through different changes. Oh, let me explain to you the types of dialysis. So you got the hemodialysis, and then you got the peritoneal dialysis. So at first I was on hemodialysis, again, where I had a graft in my arm and I would get hooked up to the machine. And then at some point in my life, I decided to go on peritoneal dialysis. When I went on peritoneal dialysis, I was able to eat what I wanted to eat. Why? Because you do dialysis every single day. It's this big bag of fluid. It looks like saline, but it's a type of fluid that I'm not going to show y'all my belly, y'all. But it's like a little incisions that they put in your belly over your navel. And it's a long tube, like a long straw. And at night, you could connect that to a machine while you sleep, or you can do it manual through the day. I used to do both. Like if I wanted to go somewhere, if I wanted to go on a trip, I would do it manually. And if at night, because I really didn't take my machine. Sometimes I think, depending on where I went, I would take my machine, and then I would do dialysis at night if it was a clean sterile. Because mind you, you need your mask and your gloves to do peritoneal dialysis. It's very tedious. If you're not careful, the very smallest germ can enter that site and you will have peritonitis. I can't even tell you how many times I got peritonitis. And it was the final time that I got it. And I got that because my appendix ruptured. And when my appendix ruptured, it messed up the cavity in which the tube was for peritoneal dialysis was in. But thankfully, years later now, God's blessed me with a kidney. So I have a kidney. I'm on a lot of immune suppressant medicine, in which it lowers your immune system so that the kidney can work, because it's a foreign object to the body. And so anything that's foreign to the body, of course, your body fights against it. So you get on immune suppressants, and it suppresses your regular immune system so that your kidney, when you get a transplant, this is for any transplant, you have to get on some type of immune suppressed medicine so that your body won't reject it. Now, I'm doing good, but I still have to be very mindful of my salt intake. I could drink what I want, but you do need to stay away from dark sodas or whatever. Every now and then I'll have a ginger ale, but for the most part, as I did when I was on dialysis, I'm very aware of what I consume. You have to take very, very good care of your kidney. When your immune system is compromised, it's easy for you to get sick. I encourage all those that watch this video to really be in tune with your body, take care of your body. Now, to this day, I didn't have high blood pressure. I wasn't a diabetic. I didn't have lupus. Some of the things that will cause you to get on dialysis, I didn't have any of those factors. Mine was on my records just acute kidney failure. But I can trace things back when I was a teen. So when I was a teen, around the age of 15, I used to always have urinary tract infections. And so when I would go to the doctor or the emergency room or something like that and get treated, at the time I didn't have, I would say, adult supervision to really be on my, how would I put this, looking out for me as far as my medical care was concerned. So I would go to the doctor and do things like that on my own. So back then it was found that I had protein in my urine. Protein should not be dripping over in your urine. That's a red flag. But again, like I didn't have anyone to question the doctors or to seek further information into what's going on. And so, mind you, I kept having the urinary tract infections, getting treated, having them, getting treated, having them, getting treated. And I believe that when I gave birth to my son, it was just too much for my body. Because you figure I had him in March, and then December, I lost my kidneys. And how I found out, like I told you, I did started getting like the flu-like symptoms. But prior to that, I was going out for the police academy, and I had finished all the tests, and I had one test left, and that was to the agility test. And so one day when I was going to work, and I realized when I was coming up the train in New York, I realized that I was having a hard time breathing, trying to just walk up them steps. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Now see, that was fluid already entering my lungs. And I was 23 years old. I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what was going on, but I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was going on. Why? Because again, I didn't know anything about kidneys. Now you have two, I'm going to call them bean-like shaped kidneys on both sides of the body. They're at the lower ends of your back. So that's why sometimes people are, oh, my back hurt. Oh, my back hurt. When they come to me with that, I'm like, okay, are you drinking enough water? Are you this? Are you that? Go to the doctor. Get your blood work. Make sure your kidneys is working correctly. Like you have your creatinine. The creatinine is the level in which they determine the function of the kidney. And so life on dialysis again was hard. At that time, all I would do was ask God, Lord, please, please bless my life so that I can be able to take care of my children. Because, excuse me, I did not want nobody to raise my children. I grew up a motherless child, so I definitely know what children go through that grow up without a mother, a loving mother. I'm not talking about an abusive mother. I'm talking about a loving mother. And so, you know, I just did not want that for my kids. And of course, I didn't want to die because I wanted to have a hand in raising them. And then I wanted to see what they was going to grow up to be. So when you on dialysis or you're faced with some type of health crisis, so many thoughts go through your head and you just don't know what's going to happen. So when God blessed me with a transplant, I was happy because it gave me hope that I can live a little bit longer with seeing my children grow up and seeing what they're going to be, and even fulfill some of the dreams that I wanted to fulfill, like being a domestic violence advocate. And I'll do another video on how I became an advocate. I just don't say I'm a domestic violence advocate. I feel like I'm a humanitarian because it can be child abuse, it could be elder abuse, it could be any type of abuse. I'm here for it. I will advocate for you. Like if I don't even know the topic, I will research the topic so I can advocate for you. I don't want anyone to be abused or hurt or anything, but that's getting off the subject. But I wanted to live to be able to fulfill my dreams. And thank God, 25 years later, I'm able to do exactly what I desire to do.